What's that? Are you on Instagram? Oh, that's the IGTV.
Let me go live on
Let me see. Oh, swipe.
swipe and then what? Camera?
No, let me see. Yeah, swipe this way, and you can change it.
What? Oh, at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Live now.
Um,
There we go. All right, y'all. About to go live here. Trying to get everything set up. All right, y'all. Y'all ready? Let's do it.
yes.
I want to talk about what goes on in my life, your life. I want to talk about what we experience. This is Real Talk with Gutta. What's going on, y'all? So we here. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're here on the first episode of Real Talk with Gutta. Um, Definitely appreciate everybody that came through. That's joining the show. Want to hear what we're gonna be discussing today. This is the first official show, so ask y'all to bear with me as I go through. Any type of hiccups or anything like that. Any type of technical difficulties. Um, Definitely expecting for this to be a good show. So hope y'all enjoy it. What I really want from y'all, I want y'all to, definitely, comment, join in on the conversation. Again, we're gonna be having some real talk about some real issues. Let me get these headphones off, though. So, um, myself, growing up in the hood, you know what I'm saying, growing up in the streets, um, came across guns and things of that nature. Um, you know, there was, gangs, I guess. It was more or less neighborhoods, but there was definitely situations going on in the streets. People had access to guns, could get guns, seen guns, shooting, all those different types of things. But one thing that I do not remember is being in school and worrying about somebody having a gun, or even knowing, any of my friends or anything like that, having a gun while in school. Um, we all, we would fight and do all that type of stuff. But, if guns were involved, it was usually, at the club or, in the neighborhood or something like that. But like never known of anybody that would bring an actual gun to school. But it seems now, the climate has changed a little bit. Or it could just been, the area where I was from in Greenville, South Carolina. So um, kind of want to discuss that today. Today's show is called Death Before Disarming, and this is part one, which is pencils to pistols. Um, so let's just be honest. Like we've seen a lot throughout the years of these massacres at these schools. Kids going in these schools and just shooting up everybody. But let's be honest, we don't see that coming from the black community. You know what I'm saying? There's usually this kid that they found out had all these underlying issues, and a lot of times he had access to guns because of the parents, and learned how to shoot and stuff like that, which is something that you don't really see much in the black community. We don't go hunting at young ages and things like that. And in some communities you may see that, but you don't see that much in our community as a whole. So today, I got a very special guest. I got my co-host, of course. I got Arica, with part of my style. She tag teaming with me, but got a very special guest, Cierra Harris. She's actual teacher, and is willing to come and like share some of her input on a lot that's going on. But first, Cierra, if you can just kind of introduce yourself and tell everybody about what you do and the type of school that you teach in.
Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Cierra, as he said. I'm 26. I am in my second year of teaching, but what makes me different than most teachers is that I work in alternative education, which means that I get children that are sent from their home schools. When they're kicked out of schools for an extended amount of time, they are sent to my school. I work at the only one in the district, and we have 4 different sites, and I teach middle school.
Oh wow! So an alternative school, can you kind of dig a little deeper into that and the type of kids that you teach?
Yes, so we get kids that are sent from their home school for some type of behavior issue. They have broken some rule in the student code of conduct. Most of the time it's fighting, but we also get kids that have brought weapons to school. We get kids that have been caught, dealing drugs at school. We also get kids that get in trouble in the community. So they might go to their school and be a straight A student, but if they go out in the community and rob someone, then the judge may send them to our school as well. So all of our kids have a behavior issue. It may seem minor to some, but they are sent there because they broke a rule.
Oh wow! So, like you were saying, so this is an actual school where a lot of these, I don't know what word to use. I don't want to say trouble kids or kids that may have grew up in a certain type of climate. Mm-hmm. They're sent to this particular school. What is, I guess, give a little bit of the purpose, I guess, of the kids going to the school. Is it kind of like I hate to say rehabilitation because that's what they say about jail, but like, is it some sort of purpose on why they send them to the school? Is there a reason, like they want to better them some type of way, or what's the reason?
So personally, I think that the reason why we get a lot of the kids that we get is lack of patience from their principals. But the purpose of our school is supposed to be a place where they come. They're supposed to get help for their behaviors, correct these behaviors before returning back to their home school so that they're not sent back to our school again. However, we have a lot of repeat offenders. We have a lot of kids that get sent back on purpose. And they tell us that they'd rather be with us because we actually care. We show them love. We show them compassion. We respect them. They get more attention because the class sizes are smaller. And so, a lot of kids do prefer to be with us. That isn't to say that, I take it as a good thing. It's flattering to me because it makes me feel like I am doing my job as a teacher. It makes me feel like I am making a difference. But the goal should not be to return to our school. And, that just shows that it's a bigger issue going on in their home school if they feel like they have to come to an alternative school to get the type of attention that they need.
Right. And you mentioned like because of the patience of the principal. How do you feel about that? Because I'm pretty sure with you being in that type of school, it takes patience. It takes knowing how to deal with kids that may have no respect, for adults or anybody that's in a position of authority or leadership. Kids that may have certain mental issues that stem from their upbringing or what they've experienced or been exposed to. So you have to have patience with that. Just thinking about that, all the videos that's been out like lately, it seemed like where the kids beating up the teachers and then the one with the teacher, beating up the kids.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I saw that one.
Yeah. And when you talk about patience, in my mind, I feel like, okay, this is a teacher that ran out of patience, and they're like, look, you're not gonna run over me like you do everybody else. How do you, for one, I guess prepare yourself or for your day and in dealing with kids that may have these different issues? Like how do you prepare yourself for that? And do you feel like the regular schools, home schools, do you feel like they have teachers that are equipped to just have that type of patience? Because in my opinion, you need to have patience with kids regardless of whether they're troubled or not, because they're going through so many different emotions at their age.
Exactly.
So how do you feel about that?
So I teach middle school. So middle school is a tough age for anybody. You know, when I was in middle school, I called myself trying to be a little thug and got popped in the mouth in a parent teacher conference with my mom. My mama came up there and she laid down the law. So how do I prepare myself? Well, one thing, I have an amazing support system at my job. I love my coworkers to death. I love my principal. And one thing that they've done is that they've made it so that we don't know why our kids are sent there. Like, they don't send out an email saying, hey, look, you're getting this student. They were sent here for this. I know why my kids are there because my kids are comfortable enough for me to tell me. They tell me, oh, Miss Harris, well, I got in a fight. Or, you know, I threw a desk or whatever they did. They tell me why, because I'm able to build that relationship with them. As far as the other teachers at other schools, excuse me, I hate to say it, but I feel like the ones at the predominantly white schools, they don't have patience with our kids. Like, they see a brown kid and sometimes they automatically assume the worst out of them, you know. And that sounds messed up, but that's how I feel. It's been principals that have refused to take their kids back. They say no, they're not coming back to my school, and it's like, well, if they sent here, they did the amount of time they're supposed to do. How are you going to say they can't come back? Like, that's not fair. You know, I feel like a lot of teachers hold grudges against their students, black, white, whatever. I feel like a lot of teachers, they don't. As a teacher, you're supposed to come in and start every day fresh with your kids, no matter what. I've been called a bitch more times by 7th graders than I have by grown people. Wow. You know, I've been, you know, called out of my name. I've had a child try to fight me, and I'm still teaching that child to this day. I don't bring up the incident. I haven't brought up the incident, and I'm not going to bring up the incident because it happened last year. So I'm not going to hold that against this child this year. He's a whole different child, and I love him. I love him, and I loved him last year. I still love him this year. It's no love lost. You know, when dealing with these kids, you have to be aware of where they're coming from and what they're dealing with. You know, that day he might have wanted to fight somebody. It might not have been me, but I might have been somebody that triggered him to want to fight. You know, I don't take it personal. Right. And I feel like a lot of teachers hold grudges against these kids. They judge these kids, and they take too many things personal. You know, the kids I deal with are dealing with so much outside of school that you just so happen to be that person in the way that day. You did nothing to them, but they're going through so much at home. You know, they might not have had breakfast. They might have slept in a car, or they might have slept outside. I had kids that slept outside. You know, they're dealing with that. And then you want to come in here, you know, you come into here and you're going through whatever you're going through in your life, and you putting it off on your kids. And they're going through their own stuff at home. So I just feel like teachers and principals, educators in general, just need to be more cognizant of the type of kids that you have and realize that some of these kids are dealing with way more than what we could ever imagine at 12, 13, 14 years old. Right.
So going back to the subject for today's show, Death Before Disarming, focusing just around the guns and just the access to guns and heavy artillery in the streets. And, you know, lately, been hearing a lot of it in school amongst, you know, our community, just, you know, having guns. A couple weeks ago, the young man shot the 9th grader, shot the 10th grader, and killed him. And they say it was for bullying. I mean, I don't really know. It's a sad situation on both ends, you know what I'm saying, that it went down like that. But just in Charlotte alone, they said that, you know, 7 guns have been found this year so far in schools, which, I mean, of course, that number could be a whole lot bigger. That's just how many they found, you know, and that's just guns, you know. There's tasers and knives and other things too. But I wanted to dig deep into, I guess, the whys, you know what I'm saying, and why, for one, whys and hows. How did this kid get access to this gun, then why did he feel like he needed to bring that gun to school? And if it was a bullying situation, he felt like it was extreme. And with it being like this way, how did it stay under the radar? Or did it stay under the radar? Do some teachers in the home schools, do they kind of take it as, oh, they always doing that, they always, fighting or this and that, and turn the other cheek? Or do they really have a concern and be like, hey, maybe I need to look into this so it don't escalate into something deeper, because of the type of climate it is? The truth is, just like even with myself, what I'm saying, becoming a man and growing up and, knowing that, hey, I can't be out in the streets and hanging around certain people with negative energy no more. Even right now, I know, like, if I get into it with somebody like me, I have to sit and think, okay, is this really over, or is this gonna be something else? Like, I really have to think about that. Like, if I go out here right now and get into it with somebody that looks like me at the gas station, I really got to think about what's the next steps gonna be. What's gonna happen when I'm coming out this gas station? What's gonna happen when I see this dude next week? And that's crazy. So I feel like a lot of these teachers, maybe not teachers from the black community, maybe they're still don't know what goes on in our community, but definitely teachers in our community, they should know the climate of how it is with the youth these days. There's this whole, I gotta get back, I gotta get you back, you're not gonna pump me, and I gotta retaliate. So with that being said, what are your thoughts, I guess, on why, I guess, these young men, and women too, got access, why they feel like they need to bring a gun to school?
Well, I feel like they need to bring guns to school because of what's going on outside of school. What might happen at the bus stop before they get on the bus, or what might be waiting on them as they're walking home from school. I've said it a million times, but children of color that bring guns to school, they're bringing it to school for protection. Children of color, they're not bringing guns to school to shoot up school. They're not. I went to East Meck, and I think they found the gun at East Meck. And so when they found this gun at East Meck, everybody was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe they found the gun at East Meck. I went to East Meck. I remember the first time I remember seeing something about a gun being found at East Meck, it was about 05, 06. I was at my grandma's house, and somebody took a gun at East Meck then. I went to school with boys that took guns to school. And I never for a moment felt like those boys was going to start shooting in the highway, or they was going to start shooting somewhere and I would be harmed. I spoke about it on my Facebook page when they talked about finding the gun at East Meck earlier this week. And like the third day of my 10th grade year, I was walking home, went to my grandma's house. And it used to be a Wendy's. So we was walking to Wendy's in that direction, and the boy behind me got shot.
Wow.
But we were leaving school, and he was shot. And I saw this boy get shot, and it was a cop car not far from me. So I went to a cop car. I'm banging on the window. Now, I would never bang on no cop car window now. But at that time, my friend shot. He laying over there, he bleeding. And, he was one of the ones that had a gun on him at times. I'm not saying he had one on him that day because I'm not sure. But he did have a gun on him before because of a situation like that. He wasn't worried about shooting up a school, though. And I always say that. If I hear about West Charlotte getting shot up, I wouldn't believe it. But if I hear about Myers Park getting shot up, it would not surprise me. And I hate to say it that way, but when you hear about a school getting shot up, when I heard about the incident at Butler, I didn't know they started busting kids to Butler. Apparently Butler is not 40% black, and Butler used to be a predominantly white school. So that's why I guess it was a lot of outrage years ago when they started to bust the kids there because, a lot of the white parents were like, oh, well, we'll just move to Union County. Union County, 2 seconds down the street. So when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, Lord, there had to be a white child. And then when I heard it was a black child, I was like, oh, wait, like we don't do that. Like, black people don't do that. We don't shoot up schools. But then when I got that information about it was an isolated incident, nobody else was in danger. After he did it, he put the gun in his bag. He went to class and told his teacher the gun is in the bag. Right. So it doesn't shock me that black kids are bringing guns to school. It does not shock me at all.
So it's more or less like we was discussing earlier, like the climate has changed now. So they're bringing guns to school more or less because, for one, the level that I guess quote unquote beef goes to, like I was saying, like
you never know
we're
when
not
it's
just
over.
gonna fight. The other person may try to do more, and it ain't just in school, or not even know that. Like, you know, the youth right now is like they don't care. They don't care who around. They do drive-bys in the daytime. They don't care who there. So it's like it ain't safe. Period. I'm at school, but none of these teachers, faculty, police officers in here are gonna save me because that's the type of world that I'm growing up in right now. So I need to have protection. I need to have protection from when the bell, you know, rings and it's time to walk home or anywhere. So I guess that's just kind of how it is. So they feel like they need to have that gun, and it's really, it ain't just bring it to school. It's really, I need to protect myself at all times. You know what I'm saying? The only time I feel safe maybe is if I'm behind my closed doors, and even then I don't know what's going to happen, you know, outside. And that's sad. You know what I'm saying? That's sad. It's a hard pill to swallow that, you know, we're at this point, you know, now with our youth, and we got to worry about our kids in school. When I say our kids, you know, the young black boys and the young black girls, because while we're sitting in you know, in our minds growing up, you know, 90s, 80s or whatever, you know, we're thinking, hey, it's just a fight. We was worrying about fighting at school. Now we got to worry about, like, don't fight, you know, run.
That we have to have this conversation now with violence being in school. As you mentioned earlier about the climate of today's society, like, I remember, like, certain places were off limits as far as, like, where you brought violence to. Like, school was off limits. Like, the most you would do was schoolyard fight. You shoot the one, you win, you lose, you go about your business.
Right.
But now it's like so many people, they feel like I have to prove something. Yeah. Like, you just can't get the best of me. I have to prove that I'm better than you. I have to prove that I can dominate you. And it just makes me wonder, like when did this change happen? Where did this come from? Like, when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, that never crossed my mind. Like, my school being shot up never crossed my mind at all. It was nothing I ever had to consider. The most you would think would happen, like, okay, an argument, a fight, that's it. But it frightens me, and because we hear it so much about school shootings, after school shooting. Okay, so as adults, what are we doing? Right. What are we showing them? What are we not showing them to cause this climate change with our young people and in our communities? How can we step up more to make them feel like they're protected and they don't have to be the ones to protect themselves? Right. You know what I mean?
The problem is we have a lot I'm only speaking from my kids that I deal with. I have a lot of kids whose parents are still kids mentally. Yeah. You know, I'm 26 and I have 12 and 13-year-olds with 26-year-old mamas. And I have, you know, so it's kind of a generational thing from what I see. It's generational. Because if you 13 having a baby, you're not done being raised yet. So you done had this baby and you 13, and now your mom is raising you and that baby. So your mama is raising y'all like siblings. Y'all become more like sisters. Then this is really your mom, you know? So that's something that I've been experiencing a lot with my kids, you know, like, and then the thing is they have young moms and they also have more siblings. Right. So you 13, your mama 26, but it's 4 more of y'all.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like some of these parents don't have the guidance. They don't have the guidance. They didn't have the guidance that they needed. So they don't have anything to pass down to their children. And I just feel like a lot of our kids are not taught coping mechanisms. They're not taught how to deal with things. They're not taught how to express their feelings. They're not taught how to, you know, positively express anger. If you're angry, okay, let's see if we can find a boxing league. Let's see if we can find a football team you can join. Let's see if we can, you know, you can go run, join a track team, run some of that energy, run off some of those emotions. Like Like we have a lot of work to do with our kids. We do. And, you know, but a lot of it starts, everybody says it starts at home.
Yeah.
Right. And just looking at the comments, you know, anybody that's listening now, definitely drop your comments. You know, we want to hear what you got to say, what you thinking. We got Tasanya, she left a comment just saying that we are failing our kids as a community. I definitely agree with that, just looking at how things are going, because I get upset and I sit and look at everything that's going on, and I sit and look at what I feel like everybody is focused on, you know, politics and things like that, but I don't feel like we are as focused on our community and our kids as much as we should be. You know, that fight to save our communities and save our youth, I feel like I just don't see that the way that I would. And I feel like we get so distracted with everything else, but when we still going through these situations, you know, again with poverty. So then growing up in poverty or the whole generational thing, and you're exposed to all these different things, which, you know, you grow up and then you're acting a certain kind of way because of the mental effects that your upbringing brought on you and what you were exposed to. Then it creates a cycle. And I feel like we need to be more focused on breaking that cycle. And you just talking about coping mechanisms. I mean, of course, like the whole thing that stemmed this show, Real Talk with Gutta, is me and music. Music was my coping mechanism. Music kept me out the street. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to go to the studio. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, which what I do see now, it added to, I guess, what I was exposed to. Like I said, I grew up in the hood. In my time, you didn't see a whole lot. You knew who did what and what went on and this and that. But where I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina, you know, not Compton and things like that, where a lot of the gang violence started, you know what I'm saying, or not, you know, Brooklyn and, you know, Harlem, where, you know, violence was on a different level there. I grew up in Greenville, South Carolina. I knew things went on. There were gangs, you know, like the Gators and, you know, a lot of different other neighborhood gangs that would, you know, do things. But for one, there was a different type of respect they had for us. Like, I can literally remember, it's almost like they would send a message to the hood like, yo, we coming through, we about to shoot up so-and-so house or whatever. And we'll get the message ahead of time, like, tell the kids go in the house, you know what I'm saying? And then they would come, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I remember stuff like that going down. But I remember getting into, because I'm an 80s baby, so I remember getting into gangster music. You know, I would always listen to old school hip hop, but what really got me was by the time, you know, the gangster music really got me, the NWA, and then the West Coast started jumping. So it's like, that kind of done something to me as well. Like, I had to be this hard person. I had to be the person that you know what I'm saying, wouldn't take no trash, no nothing from anybody. I had to be that thug, you know what I'm saying? And then it kind of puts you in this character, like you got to be this way all the time, because if you're not, you soft. You know what I'm saying? So I would be in situations and act certain ways in the situation just so I wouldn't be a punk, which, you know, luckily I'm still here, because there's been situations where I could have just got killed or whatever just by being stupid, because that's just how I was. Like, you're not gonna punk me,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
And that's where a lot of our kids are now.
You threaten to shoot me or whatever, shoot me then. You know what I'm saying? I remember being at school and a guy was talking to his girlfriend. He was out of school, she was in school. I was probably around a junior or something. He was on the little phone, payphone with her, and he heard me talking to her. He like, put him on the phone. I guess that's what he said. He put me on the phone. And he was upset because I was there talking to his girl while he was on the phone with her. He's like, you know, telling his homeboy, like, we'll shoot him, blah, blah, blah. We'll come out there and shoot him. So I'm like, well, come on then. You know what I'm saying? He said he want to come to the school. Went out there. They was out there in the car. I'm just standing there like, what? But it could have been today's climate. I'd have been shot up right in front of the school. You know what I'm saying? But going back to the music, it's like now it's on that tip to where it's all about these guns. It's all about taking out your opponent. You know what I'm saying? I remember at one point it was like, it was popular just on the whole headshot type thing. Like, I don't just want to shoot you. Like, I want to shoot you in the head. You know what I'm saying? I want to get that headshot. And it's like, now it's really bad that things are kind of going down like this, and me being in hip hop, I look toward a lot of us that these kids are looking at now. I mean, I can't blame music for it, but in my opinion, music is raising a lot of our youth right now. At the end of the day, it's the parents, but it's like you said, the parents are young. They too busy posting they selfies and doing them on, you know what I'm saying, rather than worrying about the kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the kids are being raised by what's popular. And what's popular is, if it ain't drug use, selling dope. But the selling dope thing done kind of played out now. Like the Jeezy.
Now you doing
the Jeezy little phase done went out being the dope man. Now it's like, I got to do dope. Now it's all about popping pills and drink, you know what I'm saying? And all those different things. And it's like, so you mixing that with a little bit of, I'm still gangster though. I still tote my gun. I still tote not just my pistol, but I still tote my Draco. I still got, my chopper, my AR. You know what I'm saying? I still got this. And I'm high off these pills that somebody done whipped up in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a stew of chaos. You know what I'm saying? And I want to get you guys' opinion on who should we hold responsible for situations like this that happen in the school. I know a lot of people would say parents, but some people will say like the teachers. You know what I'm saying? Why didn't the teachers see this going on, this and that? But I want to get your take, Cierra. Like, who do you feel should be accountable for this that's going on?
Well, I feel like accountability it falls on a number of different shoulders. Yes, it starts at home, but okay, you also have the parents that have the kids that were, they didn't see the signs at home. They didn't know anything. They didn't see it. A kid will come home and instead of telling them about bullying, oh, everything's fine. They do their homework, whatever. That's what's been happening. Like now, when you hear about these young kids that's committing suicide, I think just last week. Was it last week? No, was it Monday? A 9-year-old girl in Birmingham hung herself. She had been being bullied at school.
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
She's not. Like, how did she even know to hang herself at 9 years old?
Yeah.
And it's been 7-year-olds. I've read a story about 7-year-olds that hung themselves because they was being bullied.
Wow.
So it's like, it's definitely, I think it's a collaborative thing. It's parents, it's educators, it's police officers, it's everybody. And right now, this is on everybody's shoulders because yes, you got parents. Parents, you can work on what you work on at home. But then, if your kid is at school and being bullied, and the people at school are not doing what they're supposed to do to protect that child, they're failing your child too.
Right.
Which is what's leading to some of these kids bringing weapons to school. They bring weapons to school because of people at school. Then I also feel like the community. If you are a local dope boy in your neighborhood and these kids, you dealing drugs in front of these kids.
Right.
They see it. They see the money coming in your hand. They see the dope going out your hand. They see that you making this quick money. You driving these flashy cars. All this stuff. You contributing to it too. And it may be indirect. But I mean, so what? You supposed to tell the parents to keep their kids in the house? Right. Kids can't go outside to play?
Yeah.
But this is the type of stuff that's happening in the community. Everybody grown. I'm not sitting up here to do no PSA on don't do drugs and things. You grown. You do what you want. But it's just a time and a place. Like you said, it's like certain time, like you said about violence at school. Like nobody will bring violence to school. Nobody bring violence to churches. It's people getting killed at funerals.
Right.
People getting shot up at grave sites now.
Right.
Yeah, like nothing is off limits now.
Yeah, nothing is off limits. And so I feel like it's the community. I feel like it's the educators at school, and it's the parents. Like it falls on all of our shoulders. It falls on every adult that is in the Black community. It falls on everyone's shoulders because you can play a role, whether your role could be positive or negative.
Yeah.
And you are the one to choose that.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be a dope boy, okay, why can't you serve your people in an abandoned house? Why you out serving right next to the bus stop where the kids getting off school bus? You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you grown. I ain't here telling nobody what to do, but it's just a way to do everything.
Yeah.
And I also say the church has pushed so many kids and so many young black folks away from the church because everybody is so judgmental.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The church it used to be a pillar in our community, and now for a lot of younger black people, the church is a joke. Church is a joke. I'm 26, and I'm trying to find a church home now, and I'm trying to really get back spiritual and get a relationship with God again, and I'm working on that with myself. But it's like sometimes I'll go in a black church, and they looking at you crazy, they whispering, they talking about you, there's gossip. I found myself at a Lutheran church, right? I was the only black person there. Everybody was like 80 old white people. And I went in there, and when I tell you they welcomed me in there, oh, here goes some coffee. Oh, we got some cookies. Oh, please come back. We loved having you. I mean, I don't know if it was true or not, but in that moment, they made me feel welcome. Whereas when it's been some black churches I've been to where I walk in there and I'm getting stares and nobody saying, hey, nobody greeting me. Don't get me wrong, I've been to some awesome black churches too. But I'm just saying, like, as a black woman that is trying to get back my spirituality and get back, where I'm supposed to be with God. If I'm going somewhere looking for guidance, you looking at me like, who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So that's how I feel. I feel like accountability falls on everybody's shoulders in the black community.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. And even with the churches, because the churches they're in the community already. Years. Some have been there for years and watched the climate change. And what I'm saying?
Generations.
Yeah, and it's like, at what point again do you get out there and really try to force change? And it's the thing of it is, it's not going to be easy. It's going, it may be scary in some cases. My opinion, like, to really make a stand in some places is going to be that kind of mind state of fight fire with fire. Like, you can't just go out there and say, hey, y'all gonna stop this, blah blah blah. Like, you may have to be in a situation where you have to protect yourself, but you can't be scared because you out there dealing with people that got a certain mind state that's not scared. But it's like, I feel like that's what it would take to really stand up and say, hey, we're gonna take this community back and change it around because we want a future. We want a future for you. We want a future for your kids. You know what I'm saying? We want to build. And my whole thing is, how can we build a community when we're getting torn down within ourselves? It's like, if I got a bunch of blocks right here and I'm steady putting these blocks up, but at the same time picking one out from the bottom, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
get nowhere.
I'm not going to get anywhere. And that's why I'm so big on this particular subject. And again, it's not, it's not a racial thing or nothing like that, but I have to think about, well, what's going on in my community? Because guns and kids, whether you're white, black, Hispanic, or whatever, it goes on in all the communities. It may be different. Like I said, a lot of our kids, we don't, most black parents don't actively expose their kids to guns, which, right now, like my man Derek that I never met, but my man that you see him on Facebook, got the tattoos all over his face, and he got the in-home baby.
Yeah, the little girl, she can break down the gun, put it back together.
He exposed his kids to guns. They know how to use them. They can break them down, put them back together, blindfolded. And one thing that really caught my attention, and it really kind of hit a place in my heart, is when he asked the little girl, he asked her what her name was. She said her name. And she said, he asked her something like, what is your,
what if something happened to me?
What is your duty if something happened to me? And she was saying, protect myself and my siblings. You know what I'm saying? And that said a lot. Just the mind state of that.
Yeah.
But again, he's exposed her to guns. She knows how to use them, how to shoot them and things like that, which, we see in the white or Caucasian community. They take a lot of their kids to go hunting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They go hunting at a real young age, and they know how to use guns that way. So I guess what it boils down to is, for one, what is causing these kids to want to use these guns on other people? I mean, of course, as adults, we do it all the time. You see it on the news all the time. And I mean, I guess it just trickles down as far as in the black community. Again, you got gangs, and I feel like you got music as well, because a lot of music that's played, it just promotes that. I remember when they first started in that gang, I'm like, man, they'll start another trend.
Here we go.
Gang. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that every day.
Yeah, and it's like, dang, you know what I'm saying? And it's sad, because me being a hip hop artist is like, now I want to hold a lot of these artists accountable, you know what I'm saying? Like, for what you're saying. Yeah, make money, but like, is it worth it? Because when you go out there and you make that music, and then you turn around on this show and want to have a conversation like we talking, to me it's like, man, you contradicting yourself. And I used to be that person. You know what I'm saying? I used to be that person making that type of music, until I started seeing the youth getting killed and my homeboys getting killed. You know what I'm saying? My best friend, little brother, got killed the night Obama got elected. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and it did something to me, like, okay, we all on this, black president, but I'm like, my man, little brother just got shot in the back. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even have to shoot him. You know what I'm saying? They was wanting to rob him. He was running. They shot him in the back. Then wasn't no chasing down. And he had no gun on him. Shot him in the back. Killed him. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this type of stuff is going on while we worrying about Trump and all this and that. It's like, man, why don't we worry about fixing what's going on ourselves right now? How do you feel, Arica, about just the accountability of what we're seeing in these kids and guns in school?
I think, as Cierra mentioned earlier, it's a collaborative effort. The responsibility falls on so many shoulders. I feel like when you have access to influence and power, whether it's negative or positive, it's on you as to how you're influencing, how you're empowering someone else. Like, what you say to somebody can completely change somebody's day for the better or for the worse. Your hello, your good morning, how are you, how's your day? That can do so much to somebody.
Yes.
And with a lot of these children, they are being forced and exposed to things that is taking away their innocence, is causing them to grow up too fast. Right. A lot of these kids aren't having childhoods anymore. They don't have the pleasure and the joy of being kids. And because they don't have those pleasures and joys of just being a kid, they're forced to make adult decisions, and it's causing them to lose out on so much life. Like with the shooting that happened here in Charlotte not too long ago with the freshman and the sophomore, essentially 2 lives are gone.
Right.
Like, you haven't lived yet. Like, when I was in the 9th and 10th grade, I was thinking about acne, cheerleading. You know what I mean? I wasn't thinking about, like, offing somebody. Nothing to me happened that was that serious or that deep to where I felt like it was necessary to take a life or to kill someone. But at the same time, I was able to enjoy my childhood. I wasn't forced or exposed to things too early that took my innocence away. And I think adults are exposing children to things too early that's causing them to have to grow up too fast, that's causing them to have to make decisions, adult decisions, way before their time. Like, let a kid be a kid. Like, yeah, you're going to have disagreements, you're going to have people that you don't like or whatever, but allow a child to be a child while they're a child. And that's why you have a lot of adults with childlike minds, because they never had the chance to be a kid.
Right.
So we have to allow these babies to be babies. We have to allow these babies to evolve naturally how they're supposed to, so they can be able to lead us in the way and in the direction that we want to be led. Because with the way it's going now, I wouldn't want a lot of these children to lead me or to have say so in how my lifestyle should be.
Right.
Not at all. But we have to realize this is our future.
Right.
This is our future. This is what's playing out in front of us. And if we want our future to be better, we have to make better decisions to be more accountable, to be more responsible for these kids that's looking at us. Like, we do a lot of things that's entertaining, that's funny. We post things, we say things, and they're looking at us like, okay, well, if you're doing it, it's okay. Mm-hmm. So why is it a big deal when I do it?
Right.
So you have to be mindful of every little thing that you do, everything that you say in front of them, whatever platform you have, you're influencing somebody to do something.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Whether it's good or bad. And you hear a lot of people that say, oh, well, I didn't sign up to be a role model. Mm-hmm. When you have any type of platform and you have anyone that says follow, you're influencing somebody to do something, to think something,
right,
to feel something, to say something. And it's on you of what type of influence that you're being to that person. Mm-hmm. So everyone plays a part. Everyone is accountable. So just think in your day-to-day walk, if you don't have anything good to give to somebody else, don't pass it along. Mm-hmm. Don't pass along a toxic feeling or thought pattern or create a toxic environment. Mm-hmm. If you're needing good from somebody else, okay, you look for people that's giving good so you can get good from them. Mm-hmm. Don't look for someone to deepen like your mind and your idea to think toxic things, to do toxic things, or to create a toxic environment. Mm-hmm. So in every interaction that you have, ask yourself, like, is this hello going to cause this person to do good, or is it going to cause this person to do bad? Mm-hmm. Is this hello going to cause them to be better to somebody else, or be better to themselves, or to be worse to themselves?
Right.
Every interaction causes a reaction, and you have a responsibility in that, whether you want to have one or not. You have a responsibility of what you're giving to someone, mm-hmm. because it transforms into something else. And if you don't have good to give, like, keep whatever you have to yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. I think energy definitely plays a lot. The energy in our community is, it's crazy. Because again, depending on the subject, we together, but then on something like this, it seems like we're just apart. You know what mm-hmm. I'm saying? Like, we can agree on certain things, but some things like we can't agree on. You had something you want to?
Well, I feel like part of that is generational. That's a lot of disconnect in the Black community, is that we all disconnected because of our generations. We have our grandparents that have lived through civil rights, so they've seen firsthand those struggles. Right. They've been through that. They've experienced it. They've experienced the racism. They've experienced, the water hoses. They've experienced seeing mm-hmm. Black people hanging from trees, the strange fruit of the South. They've right. experienced that, So, they have different values and different morals. Like, to them, yes, you need to vote. Voting is everything to them because they've mm-hmm. seen people actually die for that, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Whereas as the generations, go on, now we have social media. Now, people want to flex for the gram. That's the thing now. So it's times have changed so much. We've gone from a time from where kids should be seen and not heard mm-hmm. to now, kids have more of an opinion. And I don't think that's a problem. I love that my kids, feel like they're comfortable enough with me where they can say what they want to say, and they know that it's okay that with Miss Harris you can express your feelings with me because I'm not going to send you out of class. I'm not going to mm-hmm. judge you by it. But at the same time, it's just, I just feel like it's so many lines blurred mm-hmm. with kids. Like, mm-hmm. if they don't respect their mom, what makes you think they're going to come to school and respect you as a teacher? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If they'll cuss in front of the principal, what makes you think they're not cuss in front of you and you just a teacher? Mm-hmm. If they'll cuss out a judge, what makes you think they're going to come mm-hmm. to school and do what you say, Right. So I just feel like it's a generational thing. You got grandparents raising these kids. Grandparents tired. Grandparents say you have 70-year-olds trying to raise a 13-year-old at this point with some kids. You know, you do. You have great grandparents trying to raise kids these days. So, you know, they're tired. The same things that they instilled in their kids. I mean, if I'm 63, 64, I want to live my life, you know? So they might not be instilling these values. They might just be doing the bare minimum, just providing a roof and some food and some clothes.
Right.
That's the bare minimum. That's all they got to do by law. They might not be having these conversations with these kids anymore. They might not be spending the time that these kids need. You know, they might just be doing just what needs to be done just to keep them out of the system. But they don't really want them. You know, that's a lot of things that I've experienced. I've called parents before, and if all it is what it is, hung up on me. You know, I've called grandparents before. You know what? Just go ahead and call the probation officer, call the court counselor, call the guardian ad litem. Go ahead, just call somebody else. Don't call me no more. Because they tired.
Right.
You know?
So, I guess in closing, what do you feel we can do right now as a community to kind of help in this situation? Well, actually, as teachers and as a community, what do you feel that we can kind of do to, you know, as far as what we have the power to do to try to help in this particular situation?
Listen. Sometimes adults need to shut up and listen. Because some of our kids are crying for help. They are. They want some love. They want some attention. And you blow them off. Oh, you annoying. Oh, you aggravating. I have one student. That little girl drives me crazy. Drives me crazy every day. It's her goal. She comes to school to get on my nerves, and I know that. But I love her so much. And, you know, I remember last year, I was one of those teachers last year. I've grown a lot as a teacher. I was one of those teachers last year that if I saw a certain kid was coming in the door, oh, it's going to be a bad day. I already wrote the child off. The child already got in trouble in my class. His first block, they ain't coming to third block, but they already in trouble. I know they're going to get in trouble today. You know, so one, we have to listen to our kids. Two, you have to give them a chance. You got to give some of these kids a chance. Right. You know, I feel like a lot of our kids are written off. They're already written off by society. They're already written off by some of their home schools. So when they get to me, they already just like, to hell with this. You know, but when I show them, okay, look, I care about you. I don't even know you, but I love you because you're one of my kids now. So what can I do to help you? I ask my kids all the time, am I a good teacher? What can I do better as a teacher? Because I know my content. I know ELA. I can teach you that all day. I can help you with your grammar all day. But what can I do as a teacher to make you learn better? And a lot of teachers don't do that. A lot of teachers don't ask their kids about what they, you know, what they can do to be a better teacher. I ask my kids that all the time. I have them write journal entries to me. If you don't want to say it out loud, you think I'm going to be mad, write it down. Tell me, what can I do to be a better teacher? I had kids last year tell me, well, you know, you could move more. I used to sit at my desk all the time last year.
Wow.
You could get up more. Your lesson's kind of boring because you're not moving, you know? And my kids are real with me like that. Like, I have that relationship with my students. So that's the two things I would say. Like, you have to listen. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I thought I put it outside. Sorry. But yeah, so I listen to my kids now. And, you know, a lot of people think that that when a child speaks their mind is disrespectful. We got to move away from that.
Yeah.
Because adults are wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Adults are wrong all the time. And, you know, they ask the question, oh, you being smart, you talking back. No, it's a legitimate question. Right. If you're saying, oh, you're in trouble, well, what did I do? Oh, now you being smart. No, I really want to know what did I do to warrant this punishment? And that's a legitimate question. And a lot of adults, especially in the black community, y'all know, a lot of adults in the black community, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
If they say, go to your room, go to your room. You ask them why, now you talking back, you being sassy. Oh, now you about to get a beating because now you trying to be smart. Now you challenging my authority. No, it's a legitimate question.
And then you work on teaching them how to communicate so it don't be necessarily disrespectful. You know, you can teach them how to communicate. I mean, it may start out that way, but I'm saying that you can teach them, like, look, you can talk to me. If you got a problem, we can talk about it.
Right.
I'm going to hear you out. Because one thing that you said, which Alberto on here asked.
I know Alberto. I went to high school, Alberto. Hey, Alberto.
Yeah, Alberto said, what's some solutions? And you gave two. You know, the two that came that really stuck with me was listen, and everything else was just caring.
Yeah.
And that, I think those are the two things that you don't see. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you got in today's world, everybody is so focused on themselves. Everybody want to stay young and and live that young life, and they ain't really focused on the kids. It's all about me. I done had my kids. Once they get a certain age, look, they raise themselves. It's all about me. Then the kids are out there wanting to be grown, wanting to grow up too fast, like you were saying. So, and then there's, in the black community, there's no families no more. There's no families sitting down together to eat or having time they spending together to where you can really talk about what's going on in the day. So these kids, they're not able to really have these conversations about, hey, this is going on in school. I'm really feeling some kind of way about it. I'm scared of this and this and that. Like I said, I remember when I was young, it wasn't a conversation. I remember fighting a kid. I was like 10 or 11. He was like 13, but he was, he was kind of short and stuff. So he hung with all us young kids. So he hung with us young kids because he was too small, to hang with the bigger kids. But got in a fight with him, busted my nose, went in the house crying. My daddy beat me and sent me back out. Somebody hit you, hit him back. But there was no conversation. I couldn't say, well, Dad, he's older than me, and I'm really kind of scared of him. None of that. And that stuck with me, and that's why I've been in situations in life to where I've been in a situation that really could have been dangerous, but I stood there, with my chest out. What I'm saying? Because that was instilled in me as a kid, and it's like, you're not gonna punk me. And then as you get older, you learn it's not about being a punk, but in some situations, just being smart.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely the two things you said. We gotta listen, to our youth, and I want to get ready to.
We're getting comments. I don't know how to.
Oh, we getting some more comments.
Yeah, I don't know how to scroll. I ain't want to touch nothing.
Oh no, we good. Let's see. Alberto. So Alberto is saying we have a broken education system, and we have to learn to listen and meet the kids where they are.
Yes,
definitely agree with that. And we a lot of times, especially when you get to like the older generation or the older generation that's been raised by a real old generation, like you were saying, they don't want to hear nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm the parent. What I say goes, and we do have to adapt to today's climate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if I had a young, I got a nephew that's 21, but like, if I had a child that was around that age and, in the black community and, the area that he's in, I really got to get on his level, because I got to see, like, what is he dealing with? It ain't the same way that it was when I was young. Again, an altercation ain't just an altercation. I have to think about him when he's going out riding around and things like that. Like, it's different now. And it would help if we got on those levels with these kids. And again, we may have to listen to them. Again, they may come off disrespectful, but again, that's something else you teach as well. Like, look, talk to me about whatever. There's just a way to do it.
Exactly.
And that starts young. You know what I'm saying? It starts, like my baby girl, she at the point now, like, Daddy, you're just making me angry. And that was funny now, because she don't even cry when she do it, but like, she's learned how to express her feelings. You're making me sad. And it's like, that's really how we gotta, and then we talk about it. Well, why you feel angry? Why you feel sad? And that's really what we gotta do with our youth. We gotta take the time out from our lives, because in my opinion, like, when you have a child, man, until they grown, and I ain't gonna say out the house, some of them stay there until they 30 or 40, but like at least until they 21, you need to put your life on the side for the most part and focus on them. And when they come around, have those conversations. What's going on with you? What's happening with this and with that, and hopefully, and try to get them to open up so they can tell you, like, yo, I got in this situation with an old boy down the street, and like, honestly, mom, dad, that would be in the perfect world, mom, dad, I don't know what he gonna do. Like, I'm really scared. Like, I feel like he could shoot me or kill me, and I feel like I need a gun. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's probably a conversation you don't want to have, but it's real. And then you got to sit there and think. You know what I'm saying? I got to sit there and think. I don't know how I would handle it. Maybe that would be okay. Well, let me show you how to use a gun. Maybe it's the way. Maybe it'd be like, let me talk about how to do this the right way. No, you can't carry a gun or this and that. But I don't know what that conversation would be. But like, it got at least it's a start to get somewhere else. But did any of y'all have any like closing comments? Anything else you wanted to?
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me on the show. It's nice meeting you guys, and it's nice coming out here and actually being able to speak. I post on my page. You see, like I post on my page about a lot of stuff that I go through on a day-to-day basis. And today, actually, one of my friends commented. He was like, "You have to be making this stuff up," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. Like, this is what I really experience in my classroom." And so, if I'm experiencing this in my classroom with smaller groups of kids, you can only imagine the amount of kids that's actually going through the same or similar situations that my kids are. And so, I really try to be an advocate for my students because I've had some of the worst students you could think of. Like, I was telling y'all today, like I've taught kids that have done robberies. I got 14-year-olds facing robbery charges, facing felonies. I got, I talk more about court dates with these kids than I have with any adult I've ever met in my life. Well, next time you go into court, oh, what you facing? Or what you think the judge gonna say? Oh, who could possibly come to court and speak for you? Where's your mom? Where are your parents? Oh, wait, you're in a group home. Oh, wait, your mom is all the way in Greensboro. Why you got you in a group home in Charlotte? I mean, like, these are conversations I have with my kids every single day. But at the end of the day, I know for a fact that my kids love me, and just as much as I love them. And that's what makes my job worth it. Being a teacher now is hard. Being a teacher used to be an honorable job. It used to be, one of those things where people, would be like, oh my God, you're a teacher. That's excellent. Now it's like, girl, how you deal with them kids? That's the first thing people tell me. Alberto, how does socioeconomic status affect your kids learning in the schoolhouse? Oh, it definitely plays a major role. It plays a major role. Poverty affects how kids learn. If a child is hungry, they don't have nowhere to stay. They don't have heat. They don't have running water. They don't have electricity. Those things all play a role. They play a role because if a child doesn't have the supports they need outside of school, there's no way they're going to come to school and be successful. Right. It's no way. Right. It's no way, and I see that all the time. I keep ramen noodles in my classroom because I send them with kids home. I had kids last year that were so hungry. I used to send them home with Vienna sausages and crackers and food just to make sure that they had something to eat. I have a hygiene box in my classroom. I tell my kids all the time, if you forget your deodorant, just come over here, grab one. It's yours. You can take it. Yeah. I have toothbrushes. I have toothpaste. I have tampons. I have pads. I have all kinds of things in my classroom for my kids that have nothing to do with academics. Because you know what? If that all the other stuff in their life is not taken care of academically, they're going to fail. Yeah. They're going to fail.
Yeah. Oh, no. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm going to share this. Hold on. All right. I'm going to go back live again.
So,
hold on.
Went off.
So, do you feel like, so with those things you just mentioned there, it's more of those are mental things again, just that cause like mental situations in our kids. Do you think we should pay close attention more to the mental health of our kids rather than just writing it off like, oh, they just tripping about this? Should we like
definitely? Really? Yes, definitely. It's so many kids that suffer from PTSD in the hood. But you wouldn't think that. When you hear about PTSD in America, first thing you think about is the soldier.
Military, yeah.
Think about the military. Black kids are suffering through so much PTSD that's undiagnosed. They have been through so many traumatic situations. I have kids that's been raped. I told you I have kids that are 14-year-old parents. I have kids that, seeing their brothers get killed in front of them. Seeing a parent get killed, or they watch their parents shoot up when they get home. PTSD is rampant in the Black community, and it's something that's not discussed, but it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And it's with the kids and their parents, because their parents have been through stuff too, and that affects how they parent their children. You don't know better, you don't do better. Yeah. So if this just a cycle that's constantly repeating itself, they never get away. They'll never get out of it.
Right. It's definitely been a pleasure having you have this discussion on Real Talk with Gutta with me and Arica. Just want to say thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me.
Not thank you for being on the show, but like thank you for caring, you know what I'm saying, for our youth and doing what you do, because I know it's not an easy job. And it's not somebody just want to go sign up for. Oh, hey, you know what? I want a job working with kids that got kicked out of school for all these different types of situations. So it takes a special kind of person. It's like we need more people like you, but we need more people like you in the home schools that care like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
because
saying?
honestly, if there were more teachers that cared in the home schools, it probably wouldn't be no need for mine. To be honest with you, I probably wouldn't have a job. But you know what? If it ever came a day where my school had to close down because of low enrollment, I'll be fine with it, because that means that they're getting the support that they need somewhere else. You know.
Right.
So, yeah, I love my kids though. I do. I love them.
Well, we definitely need more teachers like you. So definitely want to thank everybody who tuned in to see what we got going on. If there are any more comments or anything after, we'll try to answer those after the show. Again, want to thank Arica with Part of My Style for co-hosting with us. Go check her out at Part of My Style on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely want to thank you, Cierra. I don't know if you want to put your personal stuff out there.
Oh,
I think you got some
I
businesses
will.
too, right?
Yes, I do actually. I have a business. It's called Black Girl Thriving, and
All right.
actually,
Damn.
let me go ahead and promote myself right quick. But here on my shirt,
There we go.
I have a website. It's www.blackgirlthriving.com. And basically, it's to uplift Black women and girls. I want to be able to repair some of these bonds that are broken between women in the Black community, because we are so competitive.
Yeah.
We almost hate each other in the Black community, and so
Right.
that's the point of my business. And I started in August, so it's still fairly new. But I have an event coming up in December. It's a Mommy and Me Cake and Paint. So it's for Black mothers with daughters between the ages of 4 and 10. And all the information is on my website, blackgirlthriving.com.
Appreciate it. Arica, go ahead and give your
Sign
plugs.
Okay. All right. Okay, nobody's one person on here. Hey. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been like a really, really good conversation. Even like before we started and got on live, just like a really great conversation. It's necessary. It's unfortunate, but it's necessary to have these conversations. I'm really excited for part 2 of this conversation in about 2 weeks or something.
Yep, 2 weeks. Yep.
So yeah, I'm really, really excited for part 2. Can you hold this or no? I'm not the camera woman. Sorry. Okay.
Really? Am I doing
Angles.
this?
Angles.
But
Y'all
yeah,
see this, right? They see this. Y'all see me on this phone, right?
this is what we normally do behind the scenes.
No, it's not.
But yeah, this is a really, really great conversation. I'm glad I was able to come out and be a part, and to throw out a few pearls here and there. You can catch me on Part of My Style, Instagram, pardon_my_style. Catch our pop-up shop coming up on December 8th. Visit my Instagram and Facebook to get more information about that.
You turned the camera around.
You can visit my Instagram and Facebook to get more information about that. That's all I have. Hopefully, I will see you guys in 2 weeks for part 2.
All right. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining the show today, Real Talk with Gutta. Again, this show is going to be talking about real issues in the community, in the world that we deal with every day, issues that inspire my music. I want to hear what everybody got to say, want to have real discussions. On that note, make sure you check out the album, Heart on My Sleeve. It's on all major music platforms. You can check out my Pandora station under Get Gutta. Definitely check out that album, talking about a lot of stuff we talking about today, plus some personal stuff that I went through. Make sure you follow me on my social media handles. You can catch me on Facebook at Gutta, on Instagram at The Official Gutta, and also on Twitter at Get Gutta. Again, want to thank everybody that came through today to help me make this show possible. The first show, we done knocked it out. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you go check out Part of My Grind as well, partofmygrind.com. Check out the music we got on there and the artists. Here's some real good stuff on there. If you know anybody that's very talented, make sure they submit their music to partofmygrind.com. We can see what we can do. And it's been a good show. And I'll get at y'all later. Get Gutta, get gone.
Nah, cause that's 12. We got up to 18 like real quick. A whole bunch of people start commenting. Yeah.
Myself, growing up in the hood, you know what I'm saying, growing up in the streets, came across guns and things of
So
that
what's
nature.
this? This page is part of my vibe. And a lot of it,